Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Clyde makes a stunning claim to Chad. Stormed into Melinda's office and demanded to talk with her. Melinda assumed D.J. wanted to rage about her taking his job, but he clarified that Sloane was the content of discussion. E.J. streamlined Melinda on Sloane's flight. He also informed Melinda that Nicole believed he was at the sanitarium, being treated for a concussion. Melinda continued to play dumb and asked what any of it had to do with her. Mused that since Sloane was gone, Melinda was the only remaining person besides him to know Jude's true maternity. Melinda still acted ignorant of what J. was saying but ultimately gave up the act when J. made it clear that he'd discovered the entire verity. Melinda was angry because she allowed Sloane had betrayed their agreement. E.J. said it did not count how he'd set up out, and he wondered why Melinda had been willing to risk her career and her freedom for Sloane. Melinda acted offended. 8.J's imputation that she was only out for particular gain. She claimed she had a heart and that she hadn't wanted to see her friend suffer. E.J. blasted Melinda for letting Nicole suffer and rebuffed Melinda's attempts to spin her conduct as a noble act of fellowship. Melinda reasoned that letting Jude be raised by his natural father had eased her conduct. E.J. again lashed out at Melinda for keeping Nicole down from Jude. Melinda shot back. J. was doing the same thing to Eric. She scouted E.J.'s holier-than-thou act and reminded him that he'd been further than happy to let Nicole continue believing her child was dead until he'd spotted Eric and Nicole kissing. Melinda cast J's conduct as a hopeless attempt to keep Nicole from the man she truly loves. E.J. sniggered that Eric was a sanctimonious quacksalver who had always made Nicole feel empty. E.J., on the other hand, had accepted and loved Nicole as she was certain he and Nicole had been forged in fire and that Jude would cement their relationship. Melinda flashed back having to give up her own child and abused E.J. for not allowing about Jude and the impact being taken down from his family would have on the boy. She also poked E.J. about the prospect of raising a child that would ultimately look and act like Eric, the man whom E.J. despised. E.J. bristled but claimed that Jude would be raised as a Mara who would want for nothing. Melinda argued that Jude would be deprived of his identity and that the child would be raised by a cold-hearted swine. E.J. corrected Melinda for her insincerity, as she had been willing to keep Jude from his mama. He advised Melinda that it would be in everyone's stylish interest if the verity stayed retired. Melinda suspected as to whether an agreement with J. would include a lucre. J. had done with Leo. After letting E.J. know she was apprehensive of E.J.'s fix to Leo, she assured E.J. that she formerly had sufficient provocation to keep quiet. Melinda also suggested that she might need a future favor, and a smiling E.J. promised her he'd happily oblige any favor. After E.J. left, Melinda propped her bases on the office. "It's good to be back," she said with a chortle. Eric entered the demerriments and told Nicole that he could not find Sloane. Nicole cursed Sloane and called Rafe again. Rafe was shocked when Nicole filled him in on what had happened with Sloane. The idea that Sloane could have gotten the better of E.J. bewildered Rafe. Nicole agreed but stressed that they should prioritize chancing the fugitive. Latterly, Nicole sat with Eric and denounced Sloane's whimwams in awaiting Nicole's remission. Eric asserted to Nicole that Sloane would be penalized and that Sloane had formerly lost everything that signified to her. Nicole refused to feel pity for Sloane or for her better, Melinda. Eric and Nicole hoped that Rafe had formerly arrested A. Neither could imagine what Melinda could have conceivably gained from the deception. Nicole participated how satisfying and cathartic it had felt when she had eventually gotten the occasion to defy Sloane. But Nicole also knew that Eric's passions were probably more complicated, since he loved Sloane. Eric teared up and wondered if his relationship with Sloane had ever been real. As Eric and Nicole watched over a napping Jude, Nicole said the boy hadn't been sleeping well. Eric suggested taking Jude out in the stroller. Nicole thanked Eric and was open to anything additional Eric could tell her to make the transition easier for Jude. Eric mentioned giving Nicole the birth instrument so that she could begin the process of changing Jude's name. Nicole had been allowing of keeping the name because she liked it and because Jude was used to it. Eric admitted that he'd love for Nicole to keep Jude's name because she had inspired the name. Nicole was complexed as to how she could have told Eric's choice. Eric explained that St. Jude was associated with chancing faith through forlornness. Nicole understood but had believed that Eric had been allowing about his lost child with Sloane. Eric revealed that on an important deeper position, he'd been allowing about Nicole. Nicole told Eric that he'd restored her stopgap when he'd returned Jude. She expressed anguish that Eric's stopgap had been taken down at the same time. While Nicole had lost 6 months with her son, Eric would be losing a continuance. She again reiterated that Eric could spend as important time with Jude as he wanted. Eric allowed. It would make effects harder for himself and for Jude. Plus E.J. wouldn't authorize. Eric turned to leave, but Nicole stopped him. Nicole told Eric she'd always be there for him. He smiled and said he knew E.J. Arrived and intruded the moment E.J. prevaricated to Nicole that the croaker had given him a clean bill of health, also inferred to Eric that Nicole and he'd be settling down for a mess. Eric excused himself and dallied at the crib. He sorely told Jude farewell and left. Following Eric's departure, a shaken Nicole tried to turn her attention to E.J. She told him the police would stay focused on the hunt for Sloane, which urged E.J. to snidely comment that Sloane would no way be seen again. Nicole fussed over E.J.'s crack and embraced him while he looked satisfied. After ending the call with Nicole, Rafe communicated someone and reminded them about the APB on Sloane. He told the person to keep him streamlined and hung up. Stefan approached Rafe from the other end of Horton Town Square. He vented to Rafe about his appointment with Melinda. Rafe participated Stefan's frustrations. Rafe told Stefan about Rafe's own hassle with Melinda. Stefan's wrathfulness grew after Rafe revealed that Melinda was keeping the substantiation that could clear Gabby hidden as part of a blackmail attempt. Rafe refused to tell Stefan what Melinda specifically had done, so Stefan tossed around other plans and suggestions for freeing Gabby. He dismissed the idea of approaching Paulina again after Rafe refocused out the con. Stefan queried that he'd not be too proud to supplicate and buy the governor if it would help. Stefan brought up